time with the defensive play. Now finds Jaylen Green.
Oh, my goodness!
He did it!
Oh!
Jazz, the Jazz turn it. Oh! Cam Whitmore. Sengun goes coast to coast. Oh! Here's Williams. Here comes both teams. Here comes Rocket Security. And we got a score.
RedNationBlogga back with another video. The Houston Rockets defeat the Philadelphia 76ers 144-137 in overtime. This game was ridiculous. It made absolutely no sense. I'm going to say that again. This game was ridiculous. It made absolutely no sense. Going into this game, the Philadelphia 76ers are without Tyrese Maxey, without Paul George, without Joel Embiid, without Yabusele, without Kelly Oubre. They're without essentially their entire rotation, starters plus rotation. And they were up by as much as 25 points, 88-63 on the Houston Rockets, who are only missing Amen Thompson. That's it. That's the only player that the Houston, and Reed Shepherd. That's the only two players that the Houston Rockets were missing. One is a starter and one barely cracks the rotation, depending on how Ime woke up on what side of the bed he woke up on that night or that day. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was absolutely it was so stressful. It was so annoying, irritating. Everything about this game pushed me as a fan to just not crash out. And I crashed out on playback. I crashed out. But everything about this game made me kind of like just, it's no way they can lose like this. There's no way they can go out this sad. There's no way they can go out this sad. I want to start off by giving a huge shout out. I want to start off by giving a lot of credit to Quentin Grimes. 46 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals on 15 of 27 shooting, 8 of 14 from 3, 8 of 13 from the line. This dude, another guy that Nico Harrison and the Dallas Mavericks gave away for essentially nothing because they didn't want to pay him. The Dallas Mavericks seriously need to be investigated for just organizational malpractice at this point. Thank God they sent him to the Eastern Conference. We're not going to have to see this dude for the rest of the year. Thank God. This dude was getting a Shea Alexander whistle, was knocking down threes like Steph Curry, and was cooking in the mid-range like Kevin Durant. He was unbelievable tonight. I can't believe what I witnessed from Quentin Grimes. I knew he had some good games here and there, but when you hearing about a guy that's a nice story, you're not thinking, they're capable of doing this, especially when it's your team. And they did. But you got to get the Philadelphia 76ers a lot of credit. 24 of 49 from 3. 24 of 49 from 3. 49% from 3 as a team. Butler, 21 points, 5 assists. Edwards, 18 points. Brissett, 11 points. Council the fourth, 10 points. Doughton Jr., 11 points. Hood Schifino, 12 points. They had 7 players in double figures. 7. I don't know what the Rockets was on. The Rockets came out and they just were not ready to play. You could tell early on they were not ready to play. They wasn't paying attention to the detail. They didn't come out with the sense of urgency. I think Jalen Green shot 2 air balls in the first quarter. They just wasn't ready to play, and Philly came out and jumped on them. Give Philly all the credit in the world. Give Nick Nurse all the credit in the world for having his guys ready to play. The Rockets were sleepwalking to start this game off, and it almost caught them. It almost cost them a game. It legitimately did. Now, the Houston Rockets win, but I don't want to ignore in a victory what I wouldn't in a loss. And even though the Houston Rockets won this game and a win is a win is a win, I don't want to ignore some of the questionable stuff that Ime Udoka did. For the first of all, to start off the third quarter, Houston scored 45 points in the third quarter. They got themselves back into the game. They went into the fourth quarter. It was tied, I believe, 102-102 going into the fourth quarter. And Ime benched Sengun in his normal rotation, and then he decided that he wasn't going to bring Sengun back into the game for the remainder of the third quarter and all of the fourth quarter. He did not bring Sengun back in the game. And we were on playback kind of confused, like, well, why are you not bringing Sengun in to help and everybody, this switchability, you can switch 1 through 5 with this lineup when Sengun's not out there, but you didn't have that low post threat. And it's just some things that Ime does. Ime is like, he's a coach that's going to stick to what he believes. He's going to make a decision. He's going to ride with that decision. He's going to support that decision. And that's it. That's all he's going to do. He's not going to be questioned by outside forces. He's not going to listen to anybody else. When he makes a decision, that's the decision that he makes, and everybody else just got to ride out with it. But it was stressful. I'm not going to lie. I don't think that Sengun deserved to be benched tonight the way that he was benched, and it showed later in the game. It really did, and I'll get to that later, but it showed later on in the game. Like I said, this was a very infuriating game if you were a Rockets fan. A very infuriating game. I want to get to the officiating. NBA officiating it seems like this is not just NBA officiating. This is in all sports, but I'm talking about the NBA. The amount of officiating that they don't get held accountable for the decisions that they make. I mean, Fred VanVleet gets flagrant 2. He gets ejected from a foul simply because he hard fouled a guy running full speed. If you watch the replay, Fred makes a play for the ball. He actually hits the ball with his hands, but because he's short, he's 6 foot barely, and he's running full speed, it looks like a bad flagrant 2. But it wasn't a flagrant 2. It wasn't unnecessary and reckless contact. He actually made contact. His hand made contact with the ball. It was not a flagrant 2 ejection. At worst, it was a flagrant 1. But at flagrant 2, that was crazy. That was crazy to me. Tari Eason gets fouled out. Boneheaded play. Tari Eason plays really well. He was one of the lone bright spots early on in this game. But Tari Eason, he running full speed. He makes a boneheaded foul 94 feet away from the rim. I'm not gonna lie. He did foul the guy. But then they eject him. And I kind of understand Tari Eason's frustration, him getting ejected and everything like that. But it's just like the refs, I don't feel like they did a good job of keeping this game balanced, of keeping this game where it needed to be in terms of checking emotion, in terms of just keeping things solid. It just seemed like sometimes the fouls are wishy-washy. Philly's in a bonus in the fourth quarter. You're giving them touch fouls 94 feet away from the rim. Like, man, what's that about, bro? Like, let these guys play a little bit. Basketball is a physical sport. You got to let these guys be physical. It's that simple. It's that simple. Now, I will say Tari needs to play better. Tari needs to play smarter. He had a questionable he fouled on a 3-point shooter against Cleveland. Darius Garland. Luckily, Darius Garland missed 2 out of the 3 free throws, but still, like, the refs just have to be better. That's what it comes down to. In my opinion, the refs have to be better. Another player who started off really, really bad and woke up in the middle of the game, Dillon Brooks, 25 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 8 of 19 from the field, 5 of 11 from 3, 0 turnovers. He was a plus 12. Dillon Brooks was that vet that you needed, that vet that you could rely on. He didn't get into any of the shenanigans with any of the other players. He didn't get into any wrestles. He played hard. He was his normal self. And the 3 ball was falling for him tonight after not falling for him early on. And Ime kind of pulled him early, kind of tried to get his head right. He came back in. He wasn't really playing well. He pulled him again. He came back. And from that moment on, Dillon was solid. He really played well. And I was happy that Dillon played that way. And as I said also earlier, even though he did get ejected, Tari Eason, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 8 of 19 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3. He's got to hit the 3 ball. The only thing I say with Tari Eason, once again, is the IQ has to be there. The IQ absolutely has to be there because he's struggling with the defensive mistakes. And even on fast breaks, or when he gets an offensive rebound, it's 4 opposing defenders around him. He tries to go back up with it. Bro, pass the ball out. Dribble out, pass the ball out. Look around you, see who's around you, pass the ball out. That's all you have to do. You don't have to go up on 4 people. You don't have to do that. Pass the ball out. That's all I got to say. Let's get to the best part of the show, my favorite part of the show, the good. Jaylen Green, 30 points, 7 rebounds, 13 assists, 10 of 26 from the field, 5 of 17 from 3, 5 of 5 from the free throw line, plus 15. Jaylen was funky to start this game. I mean, in the first quarter, he was bad. He was really, really bad. He heated up in that third quarter. He played really well. His 3 ball started to fall. He made 5. A lot of these numbers, the 10 for 26, that's 39%, 5 of 17, that's 29%, but it was because of how shitty he played in the first quarter. It really was all because of that. If he had played better in the first quarter, his numbers would look way better. But I do want to give him the nod for the facilitating ability. He only had 4 turnovers tonight, but 13 assists to a 4 turnover ratio, that's not bad at all. Jalen played 45 minutes. He led the team in minutes. He did have some costly turnovers late in the game. I'm not going to lie. Y'all know how I feel about the turnovers. One, he threw a ball out of bounds. Another one, he got poke checked and the ball went out of bounds. He had 1 or 2 live ball turnovers. But all in all, Jalen was solid tonight. He played extremely, extremely well. And I salute Jalen on a job well done tonight. Another guy. This is a guy that I'm not going to lie. We was kicking his back end in the playback. We was kicking his back end. We were saying he's not an NBA player. We were pointing out all of these things that he can't do. But at the end of the day, he woke up and he played well. Jabari Smith Jr., 30 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 11 for 17 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3. This is the type of game that makes you not want to give up on Jabari Smith. This is the type of game where you see him play and you it's there. I see it. It's there. It's in there somewhere. But you just want it to convey faster than what it conveys. You don't want it to be a game against a team that's missing 3, 4, 5 rotational players for Jabari Smith to have a game where he actually shows that he can live up to his draft status. You want Jabari to do this on a nightly basis. Maybe not 30 points, maybe not 11 to 17 from the field, maybe not 5 or 7 from 3, but can you just give us somewhere in between 18 points, 15 to 20 points a night? Is it possible to be in that range and not have these super lows where you're not playing? Because just as Jalen was bad in the first quarter, just as Dillon Brooks was bad in the first quarter, even Alperen Sengun at times, Jabari was just as bad, which is why we were having the conversations about him. Overall, I will say he's in the good because he eventually turned it around in the second half and he showed his value. He hit big time shots. He got to the ball. He was rolling to the rim. He finished. He did a Euro step finish. He got another one. He put his shoulder into the guy's chest, finished right hand layup. Jabari played really, really well and he hit his free throws as well. So I do want to give Jabari his flowers. He played well. He deserves to be in the good. Bad. The Houston Rockets had 15 turnovers. Just not good. It's not going to get it done. You got to protect the ball against a team like this. The only thing is that Philly has 16 turnovers. So it kind of, Houston was +1 in that category, or I guess -1. I don't really know how you say it for turnovers. But yeah, so you got to protect the ball. So for the bad, I would say that the bad. Fred VanVleet also, he's in the bad. 3 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 of 6 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. Took a really bad shot that we thought cost the Rockets the game. It was the one that he shot right before he got the flagrant 2 foul, which really wasn't a flagrant 2 foul in my opinion. But that play really, really could have affected the Rockets and really could have had us having a completely different video and having a completely different conversation at this point. Because that was a bad, bad shot for it. And you know what's crazy about that shot? Before I move on to the downright ugly, what's crazy about it is right before he took that shot, the possession before, he came down the court and generated a wide open 3 for Dillon Brooks, who made it, and they cut the lead down, and they only for him to come out and do that bullshit the next possession. It's crazy to see how these NBA players' minds work and how they process things. Because was you really going to make that shot on a night where you were 1 of 5 from 3? Come on. Now let's get to the downright ugly. Listen, the downright ugly is going to go to Tari Eason and Fred VanVleet and Jaylen Green. Even though Jaylen Green was in the good, I'm only putting them in the downright ugly for this one thing. The Houston Rockets got to stop picking up these technical fouls. I love the chippiness. I love that this team has a no-nonsense approach to the game, that they will not be out physical. They will not be punked. They are not going to let anybody come into their face and pause and just tell them what it's going to be. They're gonna do the tone setting. They're not gonna let another team set the tone. But you give up 6 points, 5 to 6 points because of a flagrant 2 ejection, because of a technical foul and an ejection from Tari Eason, and a technical foul on Jaylen Green for pushing Jalen Hood-Schifino and causing a technical foul. That makes the game more stressful. And while I love the attitude, I would like for the Houston Rockets to pick their spots more than what they do. Now, maybe those techs and those points led to this win. Maybe it did. But as a fan watching the game, you're giving the other team points. And that's not cool. But as always, guys, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Comment below. Let me know what I missed. Let me know what I didn't miss. Let me know what you agree with. And let me know what you disagree with. As always, once again, thank you for watching. RedNationBlogga. Out.